Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. Today we have a very, very big new rumor coming out of the LEC to talk about. This is a very, very interesting one. Obviously, we are kind of in that mini offseason phase right now. Yes, we have MSI right around the corner. We're getting really hyped up and excited to see how the best teams in the world are going to stack up against each other, how the West is going to be able to compete. Are any Western teams going to be able to go toe-to-toe with some of these teams from the East? Are any of them going to be able to make some kind of run in this tournament? Who knows? But for the other, 16 teams between the LEC and the LCS that are not going to MSI, they are in offseason mode. They're looking ahead to the summer split. They're looking ahead to the back half of 2023, looking at making Worlds runs, playoff runs, all this stuff. So there's rumors and speculation starting to swirl around about roster moves and changes and players going around all over the place. And as you can see on the screen, we have a new, very, very spicy one coming out today. This Reddit post from yesterday says, Dom leaks rumor that Sword Art is going to join Koi. That's pretty crazy. That would actually be pretty insane. So let's see what Dom has to say about this.
Know that I will fucking flame the shit out of this if this happens. If for some reason this roster move ends up happening where Sword Art joins Koi,
No,
I am going
that's
to be
not
fucking
real.
pissed.
No,
That's all I'm saying. If
No.
Sword Art joins Koi, it's fucking doomed. Like, that's all I'll say.
that's not real.
That's not real.
I don't know the likelihood. I don't know if it's even more likely, but
So, obviously, Dom says he doesn't know the likelihood. He's not saying that this is happening or anything like that. He's just saying that it's possible. He's just saying it's potential. He's saying it would be crazy insane, and he would flame the shit out of it or whatever he's saying. Obviously, Monty and Digon don't necessarily believe this to be true. Not necessarily that they're saying it's false. Obviously, they, I'm sure, trust Dom and believe he's saying true things, and Dom has sources and yada, yada, yada. But they just kind of don't believe it because on face value, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Obviously, this would be Koi replacing Trimby, who has been one of the brightest up-and-coming stars in the LEC over the past couple of years. People still think he has a very bright future ahead of him. He has an LEC championship. He's looked very, very good. He's even looked, decent internationally at times. Trimby is a very, very good player with a decent brand, and like I said, a potentially bright future ahead of him. So replacing Trimby, a guy who's been with the Koi Rogue organization for a couple of years now. It doesn't necessarily make a ton of sense at face value. Also, when I saw this, part of what was surprising to me is I didn't even know that Sword Art was still playing competitive. Obviously, over the past couple of months, I haven't been following competitive as closely as I had maybe over the last couple of years, but I never have followed the East all that close. And I know that obviously Sword Art was with TSM for a little bit. He was on Suning, then he was on TSM, and then he was kind of bouncing around, but I hadn't really heard about him a ton recently, and I know he was getting up there in age a little bit, and maybe not necessarily at the peak of his career anymore, but yeah, Sword Art has still been playing competitive League of Legends. Like I said, news to me. After TSM, he was a sub on Weibo Gaming, and then, in this most recent split, he's been playing on Anyone's Legend, which I believe is an LPL team. Looks like it's an LPL team, making sure it wasn't like a second division team or something like that. But, this is where he's at now, and, he's still playing, so I have no idea how good he's been doing or what kind of form he's been in or anything like that, but there is some kind of potential of him moving to Koi, apparently. And again, people, everyone on the podcast saying, hey, maybe this doesn't make a ton of sense. Hey, maybe we're going to flame them, yada, yada, yada. So why would this move even be considered? Why is this even a potential move? What the heck is going on? Would it even be good? I don't know. Like I said, Sword Art, I know he got a ton of flame, and I was part of the people flaming him when he came to NA, came to TSM. Not necessarily because he played bad. I think he was fine for TSM. He was a top 2 or 3 support throughout much of his time in North America. Part of my issue is obviously from the TSM, from the management side, that they gave him probably one of the worst contracts in competitive League of Legends history. I don't even want to just say LCS history. It was insane the amount of money they were paying him for not only his level of performance, but the team's level of performance. It just didn't make sense. Even going into the season, before he had played a single game for TSM, the contract never made sense. It was never going to make sense. So it was all just very, very weird. They had Sword Art paired up with Lost, which didn't make a ton of sense either and didn't really help Sword Art look good or the TSM team look good. But he played fine. He did not play bad. It's not like Sword Art was a bad player. Now, obviously, that was a couple of years ago at this point. So again, who knows what kind of form he's in at this point. But Reddit kind of trying to help break down and explain this move. People saying, hey, this would be the most random move ever. But this comment, the second comment here, I think is actually very, very interesting and could help us explain this move a little bit, at least potentially. This guy says, the only logic I can possibly imagine for this is if Koi is also going to do a jungler swap with Vitality or something and just want any Chinese-speaking player to pair up with Bo, but even then it would be a weird move. Now, how does that logic make sense? What would be going on there? The next comment, I think, does explain it a little bit as well. It could be that Vitality wants to swap out Bo for Inspired. Koi sees a chance to sign Bo, but want a second Chinese player to pair with him, because obviously Vitality has Bo. You're not just going to get rid of Bo unless you have the opportunity to go get some other great jungler. Bo is obviously a great player, and it doesn't make sense to move on from him after just like the 2 splits or the half a year that he's had with Vitality so far. But yes, we do know the EG news that Inspired is going to be available. Inspired is going to be leaving Evil Geniuses. We've already heard Alejandro say he's gaining interest from both LCS and LEC teams. Seems like he's going to be entertaining offers from both the LCS and LEC. And if you're Vitality and you have a chance to land Inspired, hey, yeah, there could be a world where you move on from Bo. And if you move on from Bo, where's he going to go? Potentially Koi is going to be one of these landing spots. And if they're going to have Bo on Koi, maybe Koi could possibly think that pairing him up with another Chinese-speaking player is going to be in the best interest of the team. Maybe Koi has some other plans. Maybe there's some stuff going on where maybe Trimby wants to leave. Maybe they want to get rid of Trimby for XYZ reasons. You know, who knows? But that also could be what this move hinges on. It could hinge on Inspired's ultimate decision, because just because Vitality are interested in Inspired, if he's willing to come there and if they're able to agree to terms, doesn't mean Inspired is necessarily going to go there, and we don't even know where Inspired's going yet at this point. I doubt that he's decided. I doubt that he knows. I doubt that Vitality knows. So this all could be a lot of ifs and buts. This all could be one of those big dominoes that we see every offseason where you have to wait for one move to happen before we know what's going to happen. So maybe if Inspired wants to go to Vitality and they're able to agree on something, then Bo could go to Koi, then Sword Art could pop in. But maybe if Inspired chooses to go somewhere else, maybe none of these moves ever happen, and maybe Vitality sticks with Bo and Sword Art stays in the LPL or whatever. Who knows? But I do think that is at least one potential outcome where this could start to make a little bit of sense, but we'll have to wait and see. I don't know. I just, was scrolling Reddit, couldn't really believe that I saw this. Thought it was definitely a big deal. Thought it was a big story that I wanted to get out to you guys, and I have some thoughts and opinions about it, of course, and, kind of just talking about the scenarios where a potential move like this could make a little bit of sense, even though it doesn't necessarily make a ton of sense at face value. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Again, I'm so excited to be back making videos. The reception so far has been absolutely insane. The video view numbers haven't exactly been crazy just yet so far, but getting a ton of likes, getting a ton of nice comments, getting back in the swing of this. So hopefully we can keep making videos. Hopefully we can keep having fun. I definitely love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on this Sword Art story. Do you think Sword Art to Koi would be a good move? Do you think it would make sense? Or do you think it would be a disaster? I don't know. I would love to hear what you guys think. But that's pretty much it for this video today. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. Until then.